Morning everybody, how are y'all doing today? I'm doing great, but the Call of Duty fanboys are not. They are in despair right now over the Battlefield 6 beta, because at the time of recording this, the beta is over for now. However, it left a very positive impression with most people, myself included. I only got to play like 3.5 hours, but I still loved every second of it. I mean, there's a reason that everybody's saying we might be back, because if the launch of the game goes as well as that beta, but just obviously has all the content there, then Battlefield is officially back. You know, it only took the greatest FPS director in history, Vince Zampella, to get them out of the dirt. But honestly, I don't think it really matters how they do it, as long as they make a great game. That's really what matters. And like I already said, I think most people are in agreement that the game is great. However, as with anything, whenever there's overwhelmingly positive press surrounding something online, there's going to be negativity. Some of the negativity rational. I mean, there's some fair criticisms about the Battlefield 6 beta, but a lot of it has just been completely irrational rage from Call of Duty fanboys, who are upset that COD finally has competition again, and that Battlefield might end up being a good game, because they have been so unbelievably brain-rotted by COD that they just don't want any other shooter game to be good. I mean, I knew that COD brain rot was real, but dear God, I'm gonna suggest that before you continue in this video, you suit up a little bit, maybe a little gas mask or a hazmat suit or something. You don't want to catch the COD brain rot because it is contagious. Also, real quick, I just want to throw it out there. If you keep coming back to the channel but you aren't subbed yet, please sub. It would mean the world to me, and my sister is making some chocolate chip cookies right now. I promise you will get one if you sub. Disclaimer, it'll take about 95 business years to arrive. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the COD cope. It actually just gave me an idea. I'm sure this isn't original, but you could call it Cope of Duty. Maybe I can do something with that in the thumbnail. I don't know. Whatever. Let's go. Now, what I'm gonna do for this is I'm gonna show the tweet that people are replying to, and then I'll show the replies after, just for some context, you know? Alrighty, so the first tweet that people got mad at was this one that said, Battlefield 6 is fantastic, but I think I know how to take it to the next level. And then he just photoshops a bunch of Call of Duty and Fortnite skins onto the soldiers. Obviously, because one of the running things with Battlefield 6 is they said they're gonna stay grounded and keep it like gritty and realistic and focus on the military aspect of it. You know, they're gonna do what people want them to do. Who would have thought people will like it if you do something they want? And this guy replied saying, it's funny because it's COD with destructible buildings, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but let's not pretend this is Battlefield being back. You know, I expected the people in this video to not know what they're talking about, but this still kind of hit me like a freight train when I first read it. It's just COD, but with destructible buildings. Have you even played the game? Not just Battlefield 6, but have you played Call of Duty or Battlefield? Play any COD game and then play any Battlefield game, and you will immediately see that they are nothing alike. You know, maybe this argument would have worked back when COD was actually a gritty military shooter, but even then it wouldn't have, because the games still play completely differently. But honestly, like, present day 2025 is like the worst possible time to say, well, oh, Battlefield is just Call of Duty but X, Y, and Z. COD has started chasing the Fortnite trend, and I don't know if it's ever gonna recover. I hope it does, but it's sure as hell not gonna be with Black Ops 7, because Black Ops 7 is doing the Modern Warfare 3 thing where all your stuff is gonna carry over, which should be good, but that means on day one you're gonna have Beavis and Butthead and Stan from Family Guy running around in lobbies. So who knows, maybe Modern Warfare 4 in 2026 will do it, right guys? Right? That'll be it. COD's gonna be back next time, right? But yeah, getting back on topic, calling Battlefield just COD with destructible buildings is nothing short of ignorant. And I would be willing to bet that you have never played a Battlefield game before. The closest COD and Battlefield have gotten is when COD tried to copy Battlefield with Ground War, and it just ended up being a much worse version of what Battlefield already does. So yeah, we can't definitively say that Battlefield is back until the full game comes out, but again, if it's anything like this beta, it's back. Alrighty, next up we have a standalone tweet. 2013, dude, Battlefield 4 is gonna kill COD Ghosts. 2016, dude, Battlefield 1 is gonna kill Infinite Warfare. 2018, dude, Battlefield 5 is gonna kill BO4. 2021, dude, Battlefield 2042 is gonna kill Cold War. 2025, dude, Battlefield 6 is gonna kill BO7. And then a GIF, which is invisible in the screenshot for some reason, but it's just a GIF saying, like, I've been here before. I think this dude is misunderstanding understanding what people mean when they say kill. Obviously, Battlefield is not going to kill off the COD franchise. Obviously, the COD games are still going to sell well regardless. When people say Battlefield is going to kill this COD game, they mean it's going to be way better. Which, guess what? Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1 were far better than COD Ghosts and Infinite Warfare, even if they didn't necessarily make the COD franchise die. Also, I love that this dude couldn't even get his information right for this tweet. 2021 was the year that Vanguard released, not Cold War, which is part of why 2021 was such a disastrous year for shooter games. Like, really think about it. Within a month of each other, we had Vanguard, Battlefield 2042, and Halo Infinite, which Infinite started off good and then fell off once people realized that they were calling the game a beta to hide the fact that they had no actual content ready for it. In fact, I'm pretty sure all three of those games released within a week of each other. That is crazy to think. 3 massive FPS letdowns released in the same week from the 3 giants of AAA FPS games, by the way. But yeah, either way, Battlefield 6 might not kill the COD franchise in terms of like people are just gonna stop buying the games, but I'm expecting Battlefield 6 to curb stomp Black Ops 7 in terms of user reception. Anyway, let's continue on. Kid Smooth is up next. See, as soon as I was sent this tweet, I knew I had to make this video. This is like what inspired me to do the video in the first place. So he's quote tweeting a post about how the open beta had over 450,000 players and how COD can barely crack 50,000 nowadays. And he says, why do people overreact to these stats? A free open beta has a lot of players. Whoopee, do you know how many other games eclipse this number? Palworld, PUBG, Baldur's Gate 3, and so on. So relax, these don't mean crap. Oh man, I love the smell of copium in the morning. I love that this entire argument is literally just, yeah, well, the best performing games of all time on Steam have better numbers than this game, so therefore these numbers aren't impressive. My brother in Christ, this beta alone has eclipsed COD's player count. And let's not act like it doesn't mean anything, dude. People are genuinely extremely interested and hyped for this game. Because you have to keep in mind, these numbers were achieved not during the open beta, but during the beta where you either had to pre-order the game or do the thing where you link your Twitch account and then watch a streamer for like 30 minutes. Not to mention you had to have secure boot if you were on PC, and it still got this many players. How are you gonna sit here and unironically try to act like this isn't impressive? And yes, I understand the beta was free, and people bring that up as a talking point, like, oh, how are you gonna compare this? It's a free beta. You wanna know something? Not only do the COD Steam numbers account for Black Ops 6, the paid game, they also account for Warzone, the free game. So quite literally, Call of Duty Steam numbers are 2 different games combined, one of which is free, and they're still getting curb stomped like this. I don't want to hear anything about how you can't compare the games because one of them's paid and one of them's a free beta, because Warzone is also free, and it has the Black Ops 6 numbers added on top of it. There's no arguing your way out of this one. And what is your excuse gonna be if Battlefield 6 ends up coming out and topples COD, even in the fully paid version? That'll make it even worse, honestly, because then you'll have just the paid version of Battlefield 6 beating out the free COD and the paid COD combined. Please, God, let that happen. It would make these guys look so dumb. Anyway, let's continue on. So this guy then replied to the same tweet that Kid Smooth was quote tweeting and said, you can't compare COD to BF on Steam with Game Pass numbers not included. I'm PC playing on Game Pass, so you just decide to not count my online? Okay, brother, first of all, we're only talking about the Steam numbers. The numbers for the Battlefield 6 beta shown were only Steam. They didn't include Xbox or PlayStation or anything like that, so it's completely fair grounds. Both games were being compared only by their Steam numbers. Second of all, we don't have the Game Pass numbers for COD because Microsoft doesn't release any of their numbers for some ungodly reason, so we can't even make that comparison. Like, what even is this comparison? This would only make sense if they combine the numbers for all the other platforms. Like, they talked about Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and the few people who use the EA launcher specifically for whatever reason. Seriously, seek help if you use that thing. But they're not doing that. This is literally just based off of Steam numbers, dude. I don't know what your point is here. Alrighty, continuing on. Hard to judge any of it on Steam numbers alone when a lot of people still play COD on Battle.net. Okay, so I actually tried to look this up. I cannot find any numbers on where the majority of the COD player base is on PC, whether it be on Battle.net or Steam. However, I would be willing to put a lot of money on the claim that most people moved to Steam once Call of Duty got added there and they just never looked back at Battle.net. Obviously, some people still use Battle.net, but I'd be willing to bet that most people use Steam. I know as soon as COD made the transition to Steam and I didn't have to use Battle.net anymore, that thing got uninstalled immediately. But I'd also like to point out, if we're going by the logic that, oh, you have to include the Battle.net numbers, wouldn't that mean that we should have even higher numbers for Battlefield 6 because we have to include the people who use the EA launcher as well? Like, really think about it. If we're gonna include the Battle.net numbers for COD, we should also include the EA app numbers for Battlefield. So this argument doesn't really help you, in all honesty. Congratulations, you played yourself. All right, now on to the last tweet I want to take a look at that got a bunch of angry comments. We have this one from Tech saying, breaking, new Call of Duty Easter egg hidden in Battlefield 6. And then it's just, you know, a bunch of dumpsters and trash bags. You know, it's just a little haha funny. It's a harmless joke, you know, calling something trash. Wow, everybody's done that before. Surely people couldn't possibly get offended by this. At least that's what I thought to myself, and then I read the replies. First off, Mr. Beers says, ha 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 ha, effing moron. Okay, first of all, damn, tell me you're salty without telling me you're salty. Bro was so angry when he typed this, he couldn't even make a joke. He just called the dude a moron and left. But second of all, dude, why is your persona based off of beer? Beer is nasty. The closest thing to a good beer I've had is a Coors Light, and that's because it doesn't even really taste like beer. The best beer I've had is one that doesn't taste like beer. That should tell you a lot. And trust me, I have been to Wisconsin, and I still can't find anything that's actually good. If Wisconsin, of all places, cannot make me like beer, it's just a lost cause at that point. But what am I talking about? I'm getting way off topic. Point is, sucks to suck, stay mad, and for the love of God, pick a better drink to represent yourself. Alrighty, next up. As a COD lover, I don't take offense to this simply because I don't have to talk crap about other games to make the game I love seem better. Either way, GTA 6 comes out next year and will blow Battlefield and COD out of the water. Both of those will be irrelevant. Well, spoiler alert, GTA 6 is gonna make basically every game irrelevant. But I just love, like, the passive aggressiveness in here. Oh, I don't take offense to this because I don't have to talk bad about another game to make my game seem better. You do realize that in that sentence, you made yourself sound very hurt, right? Like, oh, well, I don't have to talk bad about another game to make mine seem better. Brother, it's literally one of the oldest gaming jokes in the book besides Alt F4. Or be sure to delete System 32. Take a screenshot of some trash in a game and compare it to another game. And I do love when people say they don't take offense to something, and yet they still take the time to leave a comment on the post. Clearly, this must have somewhat bothered you. Anyway, the last tweet for this video I have is quite the doozy. Come back when you have better graphics, at least. And then post a screenshot that says, dude, BO6 craps on BF6. Is this the COD killer? Nah. And then shows a screenshot from Black Ops 6 and a screenshot from Battlefield 6 of two completely different areas, both in lighting and setting, to try and prove that the graphics of Battlefield 6 are worse than Black Ops 6. Dude, this is like a new level of copium. This is actually insane. There's no way your only argument is, oh, well, Black Ops 6 has better graphics. Here's two completely different images from each other. Which, by the way, as somebody who has played a lot of BO6 and a little bit of Battlefield 6, I can confirm Battlefield 6 absolutely has better graphics. Black Ops 6 still looks great, but Battlefield 6 absolutely looks better. And honestly, if your only rebuttal to something is, yeah, well, look at the graphics, your argument's a lost cause and you should have abandoned it before you even started typing. I am a firm believer in art style over graphics, and I will always be that way. It just so happens that in this case, it also turned out that he was just wrong about the graphics. But yeah, anyway, guys, with all that being said, that is all I've got for this video. If I can find enough tweets, I'll definitely do a part 2 to this. This was a lot of fun, and honestly, taking a look at COD fanboys as opposed to, like, console fanboys is very refreshing. You know, they're still just as stupid, but at least it's a different topic. And let me know in the comments, are you excited for Battlefield 6? Do you think it'll curb stomp Black Ops 7? And most importantly, do you think Battlefield is back? Because I know it's a bit early to call, and I might be jinxing things here, but I think we might be back. But yeah, with all that being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, subscribe if if you want to see more. Join us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern for Salt streams, and join us every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on the gaming channel for gaming streams. And I will catch you all next time.